Now, he went to London for a training.
Yeah.
Okay, his personality now is very interesting to understand. Now, if for those who want to sort of understand how politics function, particularly the African politics is a complex situation altogether. No, he is going to be the first prime minister of Nigeria,
Yeah.
taking over from the British. I want to understand how the consensus was made. Was it really representing the Nigerian people in terms of what they wanted, the freedom from the colonial master, or he would sort of go in between, okay, try to do the will of the master, like you already pointed out, like most Nigeria will accuse him of. Because
Okay.
it's not a very simple thing. Now, if Nigeria had fought a war, drove out the British, I think it would be a different ball game altogether. But if you are going to sign a contract to be free now, I don't understand how much that we can actually refer to that as freedom.
As
Please help me
freedom.
with that.
Okay. So this is a very interesting part of the conversation and the question you're bringing up. Now, truthfully speaking, just like you said, signing to be free means that there will be conditions to what you're signing, truly. And just like you said, if we had fought to be free, if we gained our independence by armed struggle, just like some other African countries, I doubt so much if we will still select or elect Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa as our leader, because we are going to look for somebody that is going to really stand and push off any colonial linkage or any form of. We are going to get somebody that will just put the colonial masters away and focus on Nigeria as a whole. But the British colonial masters, they enjoyed a lot of they enjoyed a lot of fluency when it comes to their divide and rule policy in the north. What I mean by that is, while they were in the north, they didn't encounter so much resistance like they encountered in the southeast and the southwest of Nigeria. In the southeast, they met resistance down till independence. In the southwest, over time, they yielded, but they encountered very strict resistance to the British colonial system. But in the north, as soon as they were able to capture the emir, that's the sultan now, and just by any means make him buy into what they had, they already conquered the north. And so when they came to the north, they already had an existing political system as a monarchy that everybody listens to. So if you are able to capture the monarch, you have captured the people. So when they did that, they enjoyed a lot of liberty and everything. And so when they were leaving, they felt it is best we hand over power to these people so that we can still have access to them. If the southwest and the southeast have been difficult to conquer and rule, the north has not given us problems. So if we have a northerner as the leader of Nigeria entirely, which is including the southeast and the southwest, we can still have our way a lot. So all this contributed to how they made sure by any means the British colonial masters wanted to make sure at least the north should have power so that we can still have access. And they wanted to do it using the Sardona, which is the greatest political and spiritual head of the north. He was Sardona, he was premier, but he was like, no, he wanted to be in the north to, organize. He just felt he had more to do in the north, or rather, let's have Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa go to the center. So all these things helped to build up how Abubakar Tafawa Balewa became the flag bearer for MPC instead of Sir Ahmadu Bello. And then with their population, and they're able to have a coalition with NC at that time. It broke off, and then they now switched over to the southwest. So with all of that, this brought the emergence of Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa as the first prime minister Nigeria ever had.
Now, I'm trying to see if this idea of looking for who we can control to run the system is something that will be inherent in the Nigeria political structure, as it were. Now, we look for somebody that we can control, so he's there. So the British also, they think they are very intelligent and very smart in that they just hit our head against each other. We are fighting. If
Yeah.
there is a war that will break out today, we are going to blame it either on the north or on the south. Nobody is going to think that somebody is actually there just manipulating the people, no? And this manipulation has been going on for a very long time before we even
Yes.
got independence, no?
Yeah.
So at the time of independence, Abubakar becoming the prime minister, what about those people that have been voicing, that have been very outspoken against the colonial system? Because we can see now that it didn't last quite long, no?
Okay, so you mean other nationalists in the struggle for independence as at
Yeah,
that
yeah,
time?
yeah. Those that were very outspoken about independence of because Atode Nahoro, of course, will be the first to move the motion for independence. He is coming from
Yes.
Urumi, my town, about that we want to be free because we just need to be free, not puppet for the United Kingdom, which of course
Yeah.
that is what the Nigerian system still remains today. We look at it that we are just serving them as slaves, as it were, no? Whether we
Yeah.
need to be a people, we need to be free, we need to make our own politics and run our own system. This was not done then, it is not done now. So we are talking about it so that we can do it tomorrow. Help me
Okay.
with that.
Okay. All right. So as at independence, despite various nationalists that were clamoring for independence, very vocal, very outspoken and dogged, the British felt okay. They felt, just like you mentioned, being very smart and politically ahead, of course. They felt, in as much as we are not going to hand it over to the most outspoken, to the most vocal, to the most to those who are struggling the hardest. No, we will not do that because they will fight us the hardest. They will oppose us the hardest. They will push us further from achieving that manipulative agenda that we have already. So don't give it to these guys making the loudest noise. Number one, of course, they are more educated, right? Education came into Nigeria from the southwest, and all these parts before it came to the north. So there were more educated people in those parts than in the north. Hence, you could see why they were clamoring more for independence ahead of the north. So don't give these guys, because with their education and their loud outspokenness, if they say a word like that, they will use it against us. Don't give them. Give to these guys that are already normal, they are cool, they are agreeing. Now, when we do that, we are still going to tell those that are very vocal about independence that we've given you the independence. It is your person now that is ruling, that is in charge. So you can't keep clamoring for, you are now in charge. And so some of them got positions in the government as at then, but not just that primary seat, which is the prime minister. No. So they had other positions just to calm them down. Okay, the north, the south, in the central government, in the legislative council, like that. So they just use the whole independence to just silence everybody or make sure that they were still running with the agenda of putting a northerner they can easily manipulate. So that was what the British, just like a blanket solution, but their main agenda was still running.
Yeah, it's evident. It is seen there, no. Again, I want to repeat. We appear that we are fighting, no. We have nothing to fight about. We are brother. We should be able to organize ourselves. But
Yes.
we don't need somebody that is coming that be telling me this is what the Hausa said to the Igbo. This is what the Igbo said to the Hausa. Between the Hausa and the Igbo, we can talk. We can communicate. Let's look at our common problem. Let's solve it. We can do that. If we have a good leader, I always say, if we have a good leader in Nigeria, the question of who is Hausa, who is Igbo, will be irrelevant because it's not really. It has always been irrelevant because we don't have a good central that cares for the component, that the component are falling apart. Then we're okay. Yes, me and Yoruba. In other functioning society, you look at the nation. The only flag is the flag of the nation. Of course, we can speak different languages. That makes us even richer now. But those languages are not minus. They are not defects. They are advantage. They are not negative. They are positive. But the fact that in Nigeria we have a lot of languages, it should not be a problem. It should actually be a richness to the nation.